All right. Good evening, everybody. This is our first brackets round for Overworld Glitches Mentor Tournament. I hope everybody's having a good night. How are you doing, Cinaeth?
You know, it's been an interesting couple of weeks since we've done one of these, so we'll just leave it at that, and let's have an amazing race with Daaanty and Nobly here. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been following this kind of silently for the last week. Everything's been ticking along with no restream so far, so I'm happy to finally get a chance to showcase one of our runners racing each other without mentors for the first time.
Definitely.
So, just to give a little background on these runners, Daaanty has won 3 races in Swiss and lost 1. He was mentored by Jetters in the first race and me in all the other races. Nobly has lost 3 races and won 1 race and was mentored by Obscure. So it looks like we're starting.
Yep, definitely. So it looks like we have a Sanctuary start and a Lynx House start. So maybe for those of us who are new to the stream, what in the world is Overworld Glitches, and how do we get our boots?
So we start with boots. The reason we start with boots is because the Seed's logic expects us to do a whole bunch of out-of-bounds glitches. And those glitches are made much easier by possessing the boots, so we start all the runners with them. Right now, you're not going to see a whole lot exciting. You saw Nobly dip into the water real quick to check the Hylia Island item. The reason he checks that so early is because it is a Sphere 1 location. He can clip to it if he wanted to. And found a bow at Sahasrah's closet, so that Saha start is already paying off for Nobly. Daaanty, meanwhile, is taking another traditional route for Overworld Glitches, going from Sanctuary to Bonk Rocks into Lumberjack, and then he's going to loop around the Dark World and make a decision from there.
Oh, that's right. So something's missing from the last time I've seen these races.
Oh, look at Nobly going into Eastern Palace with his only weapon is a bow. Now, this is fairly new to him because during Swiss rounds, we started all our runners with a sword. This is the first time that they will be competing with each other without a sword. The sword is not only a good weapon and a good safety, but it also makes the glitches a little bit easier. So during the learning phase, we started them with a sword, and now they have to find their own.
And I don't think we've even seen a map check from either of our runners to know if Eastern is a crystal or a pendant at this point. So this is, I would say, a blind play.
This is an extremely bold move for Nobly. He is really leaning hard on that bow find at Sahasrah's closet. Daaanty, in the meantime, he's going to show us a glitch. He's heading over to the mountain. This clip spot, he's going to do what's called a new Death Mountain Ascent. He's actually going to do the classic Death Mountain Ascent. This is interesting. Yeah, this is a Death Mountain Ascent you don't see very often. It's a very old method of getting up here. You do an up teleport on that slope, which I'll explain later, and then walk into the old man cave and tie to a dead rock. All right.
Oh.
In theory, that will take you to the old man cave from the mountain entrance.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there are safer ways of doing that so you don't die to dead rocks with only 3 hearts.
Yeah, so there is a method called new DMA where you kind of go on the same slope, but instead of teleporting, you just clip into it, and then you do some kind of screen ramp jumping that gets you to the other entrance of the old man cave. He's going to do the same method again. Once again, he gets into the terrain a little bit at a really specific spot. It'll kick him out either really far north or really far south. And then he transitions over onto the mountain because they are just right next to each other. Dodges some squirrels and walks into the old man cave. If he can make it to the old man, he'll be safe because he'll just spawn at the old man whenever he dies.
So this is also, if you're familiar with this is out of logic because there's no lamp. If you're familiar enough with it, it's easy enough to manage, especially if you have a sword or another item to guide you. But Daaanty does not have those items, so we're going in completely blind, looking for the old man, and then trying to get back out.
Yeah, no, you can use the boots dust to guide you a little bit. If you tap A, you get to see your cloud of dust. Helps you navigate. It does slow you down, and Daaanty is a very strong runner who probably doesn't need it, so he's just going to walk.
And that's took another death.
take a dead rock. No big deal. He'll just spawn at the old man again. Meanwhile, Nobly is in a dark room of his own in Eastern Palace with 1.5 hearts. This is feeling very NMG.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we're going to be doing a damage boost here. We're probably going to clear the room.
Yeah, I wouldn't either here.
Although, with those hearts under those pots, I don't know. I would almost go lift the pot, get the heart.
No,
Yeah,
I see what he's
gonna
doing. He's resetting the room. He's going to do the... Huh.
What?
Yeah, I think he's surprised to find that the enemies are gone. He doesn't have enough arrows to kill all of them, so he had to reset the pots to kill more enemies.
I wonder if it's faster at that point to reset the room and do the damage boost, or once you have enough hearts.
Sure it is. It's scary, though. You're on 3 hearts, and you're going to continue through the dungeon. So, you did mention the old man cave being out of logic. That is true. So, all the glitches and sequence breaks that you would do in the underworld are the same as in No Glitches Randomizer, and they all require the same logical progression. So, you still need a lamp for dark rooms. You still need, the big key for Tower of Hera, and so on. But getting to the mountain itself is in logic. There are other ways up the mountain that don't require darkroom navigation. It's just convenient for the runners to rescue the old man because that gives them quicker access to the dark world in the future.
Just find flute forehead.
Yeah, I mean, you can. That's a valid option. Flute might be so dumb. Look at that hover. All right, so Daaanty is a very strong hoverer. We might be seeing more of these. Any seed where he starts with boots is a ripe opportunity to show off his hovering. And he's going to be doing another teleport here. This is going to take him down onto the mountain cliff. And he can wiggle his way across it and get across the mountain without hookshot or hammer. Nobly is just going full tilt into Eastern Palace. Let's hope it's a crystal for his sake. I see it is a crystal. I think probably Daaanty checked his map at some point.
Yeah, so at this point we know it's a crystal, but Nobly does not know that this is a crystal unless he's using default music, and the music is cluing him in that this is a crystal. So
no, that's true.
Something that even in MSU packs, if you know the music well enough, you can go into a dungeon and know it's a crystal without ever looking at the map.
It depends on the kind of MSU you're running. If you have an MSU where each dungeon gets its own music, it won't tell you.
That's very true.
Oh, Nobly did a map check. Okay, thanks, Kippy. So Kippy is our restreamer. He's actually tracking for us as well, so give him a big thank you. All right, Daaanty's doing a little clip here. It's just a bit of a shortcut. Doesn't really sequence break anything. Daaanty and Deadrocks are having a time today. All right, Nobly is going to do Sanctuary for the very first time. That was quite the detour. Very fruitful, though. He did find the bow and he got a crystal. Slightly slower than probably if he had come later. So it's not necessarily a time gain for him.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Pod ends up being a crystal and if Mirror ends up being early, because that's a huge time save if you can route both dungeons together.
Yeah, and also, you could put off Sahasrarla's Closet for quite a long time and not get that bow at all. Potentially not having it for Pod or for Ganon's Tower. Or even just having a weapon.
Yeah, we're still looking for a nice weapon, and that bow is definitely going to play a huge role in being able to kill enemies more easily and get around.
Nobly is retracing Daaanty's steps. Daaanty is going to go further into Kakariko. He's done the mountain clear. This is his next big, dense location he can check. Given his lack of weaponry, he's probably not feeling South Shore just yet. He does have a bottle.
South Shore is not nice if you don't have weapons for it.
Yeah, you at least want to have enough bombs for mini Moldorms. He has 6. No, it's enough, but you want to have more after that too to continue.
Well, we're up to 8 after the blind hut check, and we got a cape as well. So that cape with magic could help us get through the Moldorm cave a little easier if you're feeling a little spicy.
Yeah, well, if you're going to do that, you'd use Burna. He has Burna, and that's a weapon, so he can kill Moldorms with it. 2 birds with 1 stone.
Very true.
Daaanty's in chat here. He is running the Doom MSU, if you're wondering. I think it's Doom Eternal, or it's one of the new Doom games. It rocks pretty
Daaanty,
hard.
you're gonna have to tell us when that MSU pack is done, because we need to chill to some rip and tear.
Oh, you made this pack? Oh, very nice.
That's what I heard, anyways. That Daaanty made it.
He did say it's my MSC pack. Alright, we've got dual Kakarikos coming from completely different routes. I think Nobly has found the bottle in the Lost Woods and decided that's enough for Kak. You do generally want to have a little bit extra coming in here, not just bombs and rupees, but also things that let you check things that are on the way. For example, you know, your traditional find a bottle, find a flute, that sort of thing. But there's also some areas you can clip into in your desert. Checkerboard Cave is one of them, so you want to have a glove. There's also the shovel spot. If you find the shovel, that's an added little bonus there. A weapon for Landmo and a fire source, so you can do Desert Palace.
Yep, and once again, if you're just coming into the stream and wondering what the heck you're watching, this is Link to the Past Randomizer, Overworld Glitches Mentor Tournament, and this specific race is the very first race in our brackets. Now, what that means is this is actually a race that has already happened. Some people know the outcome, some people do not. It has not been streamed on this channel, so we decided to grab the VODs and actually restream it so we can show how good these racers actually are. And we picked certain races to restream because the races end up being very close at the end, and we're talking like within minutes of each other. So this is going to be a really nice race to watch. Definitely see how these runners are doing. And if you're not following these runners already, please go give these runners a huge follow. We wouldn't be able to do this without them.
All right, it looks like I spelled Nobly wrong. I can fix that.
Oh, and we get our first sword on the mountain edge, or desert edge there. Desert ledge, I should call it. And we're going to be doing a desert clear. So in order to get through all of desert and get the crystal, we're going to want to find a fire source. We do have the fire rod, so we can definitely clear all of desert right now with what we have. No problem whatsoever. Nobly is going to be right behind Daaanty doing that clear. Daaanty is going to be checking this middle item, grabbing this, and then Big Key. Not gonna. Oh, we are gonna reverse and go check the big chest before going and checking the last 2 items on the right-hand side. So the best way to clear a desert here is to hopefully find the big key on the torch, go get the big chest, and then go to the middle room, find the small key, and go get both items in the right-hand side of desert, and then leave desert. If desert ends up being a crystal, obviously your second item could be on the boss. That would be very nice as well. But yeah, I mean, that would be your like speed desert right there, is having big key on torch, small key in the middle, and then 2 items on the right.
Yeah, so it's worth noting also that you don't need a glove to get to Lamolus. There's a clip that gets you in. However, there is not a clip that gets you out. So if you're going to be clearing that dungeon, you're going to have to do that last unless you have a glove, because you won't be able to continue.
Right.
Now, given that they have the fire source and weapon and no glove, it is a crystal. They're probably going to be routing a little bit differently here. Normally, you want to end at a Gina's cave so you can save and quit and not have to walk out. But we might see somebody go there first and then do desert last. Finish off with Lammo. You can clip back up there, clip behind those rocks, and then fight the worms.
Yep, and that's fairly easy to do. Go to do a Gina, go to do 45. If you find gloves, do checkerboard at the same time, and then once you're done with checkerboard, you basically clip back up onto the side of the map where you're not supposed to be and clip to the back of Lamolus. But it looks like Daaanty's actually doing Lamolus first.
I wonder if Daaanty remembers that he can't get out. We'll see if he grabs the rocks afterward.
Maybe Danty's feeling lucky that we can get a glove here and we don't need to worry about it.
You also might be thinking you can just run from Link's house and do those checks, or just not do them yet. He's prioritizing the crystal. Remember that this is their first tournament match without a mentor. And sometimes during a race, you have to remind your racer, as a mentor, you have to remind them of certain things. Like, Nobly is going into Gina first, so he's probably thinking about Desert last.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will just kind of start doing muscle memory NMG routing, go into Gina's cave first because that's normally the only thing you can do, and not realize that they have the option of doing it last.
Mm-hmm.
The Desert boss can have the glove, it's just a little unlikely. It would be kind of very convenient for Daaanty to find a glove here. Assuming he didn't find both items, which I wasn't counting. Can't even count items when I play.
I wasn't counting items either.
It was an item, it was junk. Let's see what Daaanty does after. Is he gonna think he can get out, or is he gonna save and quit? Nobly is showing us the traditional route through desert, where you clip across to do K45 and then you clip back over.
Yeah, took a pause there at the K45 just to kind of think about it. Doing a save and quit on Daanty's side, so Daaanty was planning all along just go back to Link's house.
I think Daaanty knows these checks are kind of slow to do. Nobly is taking a different route back. I think he doesn't know the clip. He knows a different clip into desert, so he's going to use that instead. So the clip into desert Daaanty did is actually very easy, but it's possible Nobly just doesn't know about it, but he knows about this one. Or he is going to do the clip Daaanty did, but get up there this way because, again, this is what he knows.
Don't get stuck, Nobly.
I think you'll be fine. You can always transition. I think he's trying to get onto the bottom of the screen so that he can wedge himself into the corner here. Oh, now he's going to get stuck.
Yep, that's a save and quit.
If he holds up, he's probably fine. You want to go as far into the corner as you can, and then transition down so that you're overlapping with the eye of the landmo above desert entrance, and then hold up, and that'll pop you into the rocks. It's actually much harder to do than what Daaanty did.
Very nice dash sword against these Moldorms here, Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, that was super clean. Nobly just haw on Daanty's heels. Daaanty has done an extra boss, but Nobly has done a couple extra checks that Daaanty hasn't done. So it isn't necessarily one person ahead of the other. Daaanty might come back for those checks later.
I'm sensing a Zora check from both of our runners coming up here fairly soon.
Yes, so Zora is very easy to get to with a water walk. You can arm the water walk in Ice Rod Cave. And take that water walk to Zora. Check the waterfall on the way. The water walk does allow you to check waterfall without a moon pearl or flippers. That is also in logic. So if you're not familiar with Overworld Glitches logic, it is not just major glitches that are in logic, but also certain glitches in the overworld that are minor. Mostly water walk and fake flippers, but also a couple bunny tricks as well. If we don't see a moon pearl soon, we might be seeing some of those.
Yeah, definitely. And we saw an ether tablet, or ether medallion, I should say, over an Ice Rod Cave. That could prove useful considering that Misery Mire may require that ether.
Yeah, so you can get into Turtle Rock without a medallion. There's a couple ways to clip in. Mire does not have those options. It has one entrance that doesn't exist until you open it.
Yep, and that entrance requires one of the 3 medallions. We don't know which one it is yet. Oop, Moon Pearl at the waterfall. And a Red Cane! Waterfall Fairy is packing today.
Alright, so let's do a Zora Ledge check. That's another item you can clip to while having a water walk. Usually it's junk, so you just run past it and do Zora.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then the setup right here, if you dash just in the right spot, you can dash right over to Zora with your water walk. Sets you up to right on the side here, so you don't have to collect the item, but hey, second medallion!
Alright.
Zora
So
was worth for
let's
once.
hope for Nobly's sake that he takes his water walk to Zora and not to Hobo. Because if he takes it to Hobo, he has kind of orphaned the waterfall because his only way of getting in there is with a water walk currently.
Mm-hmm.
With the Moon Pearl being inside of it, he can't even get the fake flipper water walk.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and that's exactly where Nobly's going. Gonna go get that Moon Pearl and then that Red Cane.
All right, we have this entirely in-logic Tower of Hera. We have a fire source. We have a weapon for Moldorm. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
No hook shot, so no little convenience. Hera
Big key
pop,
right
but
up front.
we
Very nice.
do have the key, so we don't have to do the battle room to get to Moldorm.
Hoping for a small key that's locked in the basement and not an item. There's a couple of interesting setups I see for that triple Beetle room.
Yeah, the one I
Daaanty
know
just went
is
through.
you kind of like walk to the right a little bit, and you kind of swipe two of them into the pits, and then the other one you throw the pot at. I think that's kind of the standard NMG strat you do when you have a fighter sword. That was an item. Hopefully we'll find another item and not have to do the basement. Hera basement is a really tricky item because, there you go, we don't have to worry about Hera basement. It's really easy to put it off because you come to Hera so often in this mode, just to correct your camera. Alright, nobody is showing us the new Death Mountain ascent. Doing some screen wrap movement that drops him on the Light World version of Bumper Cave, and then you can drop down into the Old Man entrance and do it from the other side.
Yep, so we're going to be seeing a lot of checks Nobly doing right now that Daaanty has already done, but I believe Nobly's going to also take advantage of this and go right into Tower of Hera.
Yeah, he has other options. He can go to Graveyard Ledge. There's a couple clips off the mountain. One of them takes you to Graveyard Ledge, one takes you to King's Tomb. Both of those are Sphere 1 locations. Having a Moon Pearl and a whole bunch of stuff in your inventory already, you might actually be tempted into the Dark World at this point.
I'm definitely tempted.
Yeah, after Tower of Hera, you probably drop down into the Dark World. I think that's what I would do in Daanty's situation, and probably Nobly's as well.
But Daaanty picking up the third crystal. Daaanty now has a 1 crystal lead plus a full dungeon ahead of Nobly on this race.
Yeah, but the dungeon is Lanmo, and Nobly has done Eastern Palace. So it's kind of hard to call a lead right now. So Daanty's going to East Death Mountain. He's gone into the Dark World. He's going to do the same clip he did earlier to get across. He can hover, so he's not worried about Hookshot Cave. He's just going to do it. The early Hookshot Cave is something that it's a very specific advantage you get from hovering in this mode because it's so accessible. With only the Moon Pearl, you don't even need a glove to get in here. Daaanty will show us a clip that gets you into Hookshot Cave without a glove.
So the answer is yes, you can clip into Ganon's Tower, and it actually is very important too in this mode because unlike other modes, Ganon's Tower is not filled with junk. It actually can be filled with progression that you may need. But most players in this mode are probably not going to go into Ganon's Tower unless they have the Red Cane and Fire, which they have. They can do right-hand side, or they have Hammer and Hookshot to do left-hand side.
Nobly took a fall trying to bomb jump to the big chest in Hera. That's a very costly fall. You lose a couple minutes doing that. Alright, Daanty's doing the clip. He clips through here, wraps around the screen. He's actually going up to Floating Island, entering Hookshot Cave from the back entrance. Checking the medallion. I didn't notice that, but apparently Daaanty had checked the medallion for Turtle Rock, which is kind of a meme in Overworld Glitches. You don't need it. However, it can be logically required depending on key layout, so it can be valuable information.
Yeah, worth noting, I guess, if you need to know.
Alright, Daaanty is preparing for the hover here, killing that enemy so he can get across and not get blocked. Nobly's taking the safe route to the big chest so he doesn't fall again. Rewarded with a heart piece and a bug net for their efforts. Whoops.
Ooh, Daaanty
Oh.
didn't quite get the bonk over to that last chest, so we're gonna have to see another hover here to get to this chest,
I think
and
that's,
then to the last chest.
yeah, that actually adds another hover to his requirement. Normally, you only need to hover twice to do all these checks. I say only as if it's easy, but
Yeah, doing it once is hard. Doing it 3 times, you forget about it.
Daaanty is showing us that he's better at hovering than at walking.
Alright, so we're going to be doing actually an early Turtle Rock play over on Daanty's screen.
Sure, with Canis, Samari, and Fire Rod. It's a lot of checks. You can do everything except Trinex. Not
Now,
necessarily.
do we know if this is a crystal yet?
I don't.
I don't think so.
I'm also really bad at paying attention to those things. I don't think it matters to Daaanty because he doesn't have the ice rod anyway. And even if he did, he doesn't have the firepower to kill Trinex. He's still on Fighter Sword. He doesn't have a hammer. He doesn't have enough magic extensions to fight Trinex without a better sword. So he wouldn't be fighting Trinex anyway. It's also pretty easy to get back to him. There's a couple wraps, like clips you can do to get to Trinex, directly to Laser Bridge. So it's not nearly as bad as it would be in No Glitches to leave behind Trinex without the Ice Rod. Alright, so we got a crystal there.
Yep.
Ice and Mire are pendants. Skullwoods is green pendant. This is potentially a flipperless seed. Could also be a gloveless seed. So we've seen a couple clips that people have done that skip the glove. Most of the glove requirements are in the overworld, and there are skippable. One glove requirement that is not skippable is the boss of Ice Palace, because you have to lift a rock to get to him. With Ice being a pendant, we might actually get to skip the glove in this seed.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. So this is gonna turn into an ice rod hunt, right?
You know, it's Overworld Glitch. It's gonna be Quake for Mire. That's how it always is. You get 2 medallions, it's always the other one.
Yeah, Quake for Mire, ice rod to go mode in Mire.
So Nobly is making an interesting choice here. He does not want to have anything to do with that pendant Skullwoods, despite having the ability to clear it. A couple of reasons. Obviously, it's a pendant, and pendants suck. But also, he's on Fighter Sword. He has 4 hearts, green mail. I can't blame him for doing this skip. You can always come back to it later.
Not to mention, you know, Thieves Town, the chess game, the brewery. This is a lot of checks right here. This is a good dense area.
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of a risk here is he doesn't have the hammer. So if he goes into Thieves Town, he could be isolating a chest. One thing that people often favor, they often favor doing south to north routing, but that requires a little bit of extra investment in your glitches. That is, you have to do a little bit more to get to the South Dark World without the equipment that you would normally use to access the portal. Right now they have nothing, so you would have to do a super jump, which is a Death Mountain descent that takes you all the way to Swamp Palace. It's not hard to do, but it is, you know, a little bit slower. So, all right, there's a
and there's the flute.
We'll see if that even gets activated. The seed. Nobody really has an excuse to go back to Kakariko right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest excuse that we're gonna find for Kakariko is if we get to a Titan glove.
Yeah, I think if we get a mirror while here, the one thing you come back for, because you know then you can just mirror and activate the flute. The other thing that would be nice to have is access to the potion shop. So if somebody finds a mushroom, it might be worth it. They can activate that flute just to turn it in, buy some potions. You can eat food potions and do a little glitch with them later that gets you around the world faster. Alright, Daanty's taking safety door. He's worried about Laser Bridge. He has the mirror shield. So he might just be resetting his spawn point. Oh, there's a hammer in Thieves Town. That's gross. So if you're afraid of hammerless Thieves Town, this is not the seed for you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something I was thinking about saying is that even though not having hammer, it's still worth it because technically that is the vanilla spot for hammer is Thieves Town.
There you go.
Or
So
no, I'm
Dandy's
sorry.
showing why he took safety door. I thought you were joking. Mitts are the vanilla Thieves Town item.
Yeah, yeah.
But I thought you meant hammer is the vanilla Thieves Town item in the same way that ice rod is the vanilla TR item.
Yeah.
Nobly is investing in potion here, so he's let loose his bee and he's going to buy a potion. I wonder if he's thinking about either using a fake flute or just having a Rothula. Let's see what. So it's probably going to buy a blue potion because blue potions are better, but also because there's a glitch you can do called a fake flute, where you drink a potion on a screen transition, and it will take you into the flute menu because the game does some weird math with the numbers. Can't do two things at the same time.
So is Ice Rod the vanilla TR item and hammer is the vanilla Thieves Town item, just like the bow is the vanilla pod item?
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, that won you a race, okay?
It did win me a race.
Alright, so Daaanty's following Nobly's footsteps. Let's see if he goes into Skullwoods. It is a pendant, but he has a little bit more safety. You found quite a few hearts on the mountain that Nobly doesn't have. I think Nobly is actually going to travel with that flute. He has to remember to drink the potion. Or not to drink the potion. Okay, he is just gonna descend again. I
I'm a
think
little
he's...
sad that...
Yeah, he's not gonna travel. He's taking it to Skullwoods for safety.
I'm a little sad that I can't hear the Doom music, but that's only because I don't want to hear myself on top of the Doom music.
Oh yeah, that would be awful. Like, having to hear yourself while talking, it would pretty much just jam your voice. Oh, what are you doing, Nobly? Did he die in Thieves Town?
I think so, because we're back here.
It's interesting because if he had died in Thieves Town, that actually would have made the dungeon a little easier for him. It would put him in what we call fake Dark World. The game doesn't expect you to be in a Dark World dungeon at all without defeating Aghanim. So when you die, it'll just put you back in the Light World. But it'll still put you back in the dungeon, so you'll be in the Light World version of the dungeon. Sort of like what you would encounter in Entrance Rando. Thieves Town will have rats instead of crickets. They do way less damage and they die in one hit. So if he was really scared of Thieves Town, a strategic move would actually be to die here on purpose, just to get that little easier world. That would make it difficult for him to progress because he would be in the Light World, so when he exits, as soon as he makes a screen transition, he won't be in the Dark World anymore, and he won't be able to continue. This is actually... This is losing Nobly quite a bit of time. That little extra trip to the witch to buy that potion. But it doesn't lose nearly as much time as dying multiple times in Thieves Town. I think it's going to be fine, though. I think he, maybe he has bigger plans for that bottle. Maybe he plans to do Skullwoods after.
Daaanty getting some very nice key dashes and movement throughout Thieves Town now.
Yeah, this is just pure NMG for him. NMG with a slightly worse sword, which I guess would be RMG. Because you do come here with Fighter Sword in the All Dungeon speedrun.
Yep.
It's kind of awful, actually.
The Fighter Sword and only like 5 hearts.
Yeah, this is a big hurdle for people doing that speedrun. The glitches are easy. It's this stuff that you have to do. That was a very bold dash through that cricket. He knew exactly how much time he had to run through it and not get hit. He's taking it a little safer with these two. They do 2 hearts of damage on his mail. That's a hook shot.
Oh, hook shot.
Wow, imagine not
In
finding the hammer
basement.
hitter. Wow, that would be something to leave behind. Now with Swamp Dependent, maybe they don't need it. I think Nobly can also hover, although not as consistently as Daaanty. I've heard from him. He has said that he's tried multiple times at some point, and we'll see if he doesn't need it anymore. He has a hook shot. He'll be fine. Daaanty will find the hook shot and be like, I didn't want to see that because that's my advantage, right?
So our runners now have full access to Ganon's tower with all the items that they have. It would be scary, but they have full access.
That's very true. This is this is the dream for people with high execution. I think we might see Daaanty go there next, taking advantage of that. Kind of like how Nobly went into Eastern really early, taking advantage of his confidence in Eastern and having that bow in a place that Daaanty is not likely to find it soon.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't know if Daaanty is going to do GT without... I mean, maybe hope for bow for climb, but that's still dangerous if you're not planning to climb.
Yeah, well, so you can skip the bow for the climb using a mimic clip. It's a little glitch you do. You get the mimics out of bounds. It's allowed in all randomizer modes. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's doable. So you might just do it anyway.
I would definitely be interested in seeing that, because I knew that you glitch the mimics in the first room, but the second room...
Yeah, the first room's a little easier. You only had to clip them once. 1 frame. The second one, you have to do multiple frames of 1 frame movement, where you advance the mimic's walk cycle so they clip into the wall until they kind of auto-walk out of the wall. And those 1 frame movements do have to be consistent, because if you mess up one, you'll reset your progress. It can be rather difficult. But yeah, Centroid is confirming Nobly can hover. But it doesn't matter anymore because we have hook shot.
Yes, hook shot, the great equalizer.
The great equalizer. Nobly will also have a faster hook shot cave when he goes up there. Hovering doesn't always save time.
And Nobly may never need to check hookshot cave, because we know that hookshot is just garbage.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, what is that hookshot locking for us? What's the logical progression?
I'm thinking either GT or maybe a nasty ice rod inside a swamp.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't worry about swamp until we find the flippers and the mirror. Those items are still required in this mode.
Very true.
Lots of bee in a bottle today. Seems like every bottle we've collected has had a bee in it.
We got our blue mail, though. It may give our runners more confidence to go up to GT and just get those 27 checks done.
So that bow that Daaanty has been putting off, that is required. We need it for Pod, we need it for Eastern. Given its location near Eastern, how long is it going to be before he finds that bow or a different?
Let's have a prediction in chat. Are we going to get the bow or an uncle check first on Daanty's side?
What if uncle is the bow? We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, silver arrows could be over at uncle. Alright, so we're having both runners go and check Misery Mire. Not a bad play, especially since you want to know. And did you call it? Didn't you call it that Misery Mire was a quake?
Of course it's quake. It's always a medallion hunt.
So yeah, we're now on quake and ice rod hunt. Oh, Daaanty just teleported the wrong direction and has to save and quit. I don't think we've seen Graveyard Ledge either at this point, which is kind of rare because Graveyard Ledge is a really quick check. We also have Spike Cave. Spike Cave is fully in logic right now. Daaanty's going up to Ganon's... Nope, I'm sorry. Going to Spike Cave, speaking of, and then probably going to Ganon's Tower after doing the screen reset. Forgets that we don't have gloves, and I forgot that we don't have gloves either. So we can't do Spike Cave. Happens to everyone. You don't think about the things that you need glove for to lift. It just kind of happens when you get there. And glove just appears so early in so many seeds. Alright, so Daaanty's going to go to Eastern now, and probably going to find the bow, going into Sasha's closet first. Alright, Sasha's closet is open. Here comes the bow. Meanwhile, Nobly is going to be doing a pod check, putting the monkey to work to open the door. Escorting the monkey here is required. There are no glitches to get into pod without the monkey, except if you are doing a restricted major glitches run. And a glove in pod. Huh. So speaking of the glove requirement, now Spike Cave is in logic. And that's going to put Nobly in a good place for checking GT, Spike Cave, and literally everything that we can do now with that glove.
Yeah, so getting back to pod is going to be a little tough for Daaanty because he doesn't really have a convenient way of getting there. He's already done the top of the mountain, so hookshot cave descent to catfish into pod isn't really going to be appealing to him. Going from the normal way isn't going to be appealing either. So actually his best way to get to pod is through defeating Aghanim 2. So I think, this is my little prediction, but I think he does GT next. He uses that to get to pod, because that'll put him on the pyramid.
I'm actually kind of curious why Daaanty didn't go into GT. I mean, I know we got kind of trapped on that Spike Cave, but...
That's what he meant to do.
Yeah, just got trapped in the Spike Cave.
I know sometimes when you think, you try to go somewhere and something goes wrong, you just kind of reroute on the fly. You say, you know what, screw it, I'm not going here. I'll just go somewhere else. I'm feeling behind now because I did Spike Cave for no reason. So... I'm just gonna do Saha. I still don't know whether he was doing Hype Cave or GT from there. GT was a little more likely just because it's a lot more checks that he can do. But he did kind of orphan Hype Cave a little bit by soft walking on that teleport.
Yep. Oh no, Daaanty confirming that the Mire play and the spike really had him tilted. So I'm wondering where Mirror is, because if Mirror is in an interesting location that allows for Pod and Eastern to be routed together, that would make this seed really interesting as far as the items that you get and what locations you get them in.
Yeah, it's totally irrelevant now that both runners have been to both separately. And
I'm just kind of curious.
At this point, we don't want to see a mirror, because mirror opens up some locations that we really don't want to go to. One of them being Swamp Palace if we were to also find the flippers, Pyramid Ferry, which would be kind of nice because you can route it into the escape. But it's kind of late in the game. We want to just do crystals and find things at crystal dungeons if we can. All right, let's see where Daaanty goes. This is another kind of clip that he was doing before, not correcting his camera here. Oh, he is. Where is he going? Is he going to do catfish into pod?
I think you had said it earlier that mirror may not be required to finish this seed.
Nope. Yeah, you don't need it. Unless there's something in swamp. Alright, he might just be correcting his camera for the visual cue. Oh, nope. He's going off the mountain again. This might be a Skull Woods play. I kind of glossed over this earlier, but you can just walk off the mountain. Oh, interesting. Okay, this is definitely a way to get to pod. He has a kern jump. He's gonna do a bufferless kern jump here and just time it manually.
Why would you do this to yourself? You have the hammer.
He doesn't have a glove. Like, he doesn't have
you
portal access.
You can still super jump down and hammer
sure.
up from swamp.
But remember that this is an unmentored race. It's possible runners don't know the glitches well enough to feel confident doing them like that. Like, I remember one of the first races I mentored, I didn't know super jump well enough to get my racer to do it. And that team did not have gloves for a very long time. So we just did other things. We did fake flute. We walked there. We kind of tried to route cleverly.
Oh yeah, fake flute is totally another option to get down to Hype Cave and to do those hammer pegs to do pod.
Yeah. So kind of on that note, like, you do have a lot of different ways to get around the world, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. A lot of it is just preference. They're all kind of slow in their own ways. Like, super jump is a lot of setup just to get to the South Dark World. So Daaanty's rerouting here. He's not having any success with the kern jump, so he's gonna do Skull Woods instead. Maybe thinking if he finds mirror and pod, he can turn in that green pendant.
I am very interested, though, to see how this race is going to turn out to be very close, because it seems like almost there's one clear leader at this point.
Yeah, well, we have Nobly has kind of just been doing crystal dungeons, getting progress made. Daaanty has gone a little bit off the path, but who knows? There could be something good back here. So Nobly did an interesting route through pod. He did Helmosaur first. And then he went to the back.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that doing Helmosaur first instead of coming to the back. I didn't exactly do any key counting, and maybe because we don't have lamp yet, you know, logic dictates that there can't be progression back. I mean, there can be progression, and lamp is just somewhere else. But right now, lamp is kind of locked in this area.
Yeah, lamp can't be on Helmosaur either, but it is a crystal, so if it's an item, I think, you know, that's sort of something you do when you're one item from go mode. Nobly is 2 items from go mode. It's hard to believe with this empty inventory that there are actually only 2 items from go mode, but it's true. They do need a sword, but we kind of pretend that that will just show up somewhere. It always does.
I'm still saying GT's the play right now.
Yeah, it's actually really surprising nobody's gone there yet. I don't think Daaanty is afraid of a fighter sword GT climb.
Looks like we're gonna get a bomb yump over on Nobly's side.
Yeah, so he's gonna hammer yump here. Not actually sure what the benefit of that is, since he's already, you know, he has a key. Maybe it's just, sometimes some people find it easier to navigate the dark maze from this direction.
I've heard that too. It's also easier to just save and quit once you get these couple of items.
Yeah, if the first 2 are items, like, he was missing maps, so if he knew that the map was in the top chest, he could save a lot of time by not having to walk up there. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for him. The map was in the big chest.
But once again, welcome to the stream. If you are new here, my name is Cinaeth, and I am joined by my co-commentator Malmo. This is the Go Mode podcast, Overworld Glitches race of Link to the Past Mentor Tournament, Daaanty versus Nobly. We're in the first game of our brackets here. Our racers did not start with a sword. They do not have mentors, and they are pretty new to this game mode. They've only raced this game mode, what, 4 times before this race, if I'm counting correctly?
Assuming they weren't playing on their own or doing async races. Daaanty has played a little bit of Overworld Glitches before. He filled in for another entrant at the very beginning, so he had a little bit more experience, but not so much that he was overpowered. Look at that back of escape. So that was
back.
Actually, with a small key there, that was locked behind the glove and pod. A sword and silver arrows. That's the Ganon package right there. Master sword required to kill him. The silver is making that fight much easier.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Daaanty's trying to full clear Skull Woods and not finding a whole heck of a lot back here to help him.
Yeah, I wonder where he goes next. He's arming a water walk. He's going to use it to cross the river. This is kind of the traditional way. Before Kern Jump was discovered, this was how you would sequence break the requirement to get to East Dark World. Normally, if like the seed required Aghanim to access East Dark World and you had boots, you could arm a water walk and bring it all the way to the river here. Another thing that Daaanty has access to is splash deletion. I'm surprised I didn't see him kind of swap to that when he realized he was gonna get low on bombs.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible he hadn't reset his index from fighting Armos. That does mess up splash deletion a little bit. If you don't know how to reset index or you don't have the supplies required, which I believe is like you spam bombs in the water. You can shoot the bow a bunch of times and use the lamp, which he doesn't have. He only has 2 arrows, so splash deletion with arrows isn't really going to happen. So I guess that would be the reason.
There's a bunch of different ways to do splash deletion. So there's the arrows and bombs method. There's the red rang and red cane method. There's red cane and bombs method. There's so many different methods to it. It's just a matter of putting enough sprites on the screen so that the sprite that normally gives you the ability to get knocked back out of the water never appears, and because that sprite never appears, the game just goes, well, you're swimming, so have fun.
Yeah, Daaanty is trying to clip here. This is a clip that gets you into pod pretty quickly. He doesn't remember what bump to do it on, so he tried a couple and then they didn't work, so he's gonna go the normal way. He actually wanted to be on the 6th bump.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 higher than the first one he tried. Kind of a shame. He's very close to it, but this is what, a lot of stuff to remember in this mode. Which bump to do. It's not going to be the same for every teleport.
Mm-hmm. And some teleports are even different from every other teleport.
Yeah, the most important thing is to have a backup plan. If your seed is requiring you to do a teleport, that's one thing, but if you're just doing it for a shortcut and it's taking you too much time, it's probably best off to just walk. Just go the normal way. Cut your losses. Rely on your NMG execution. Alright, we're finally getting to see GT from Nobly's side. Maybe that sword was the persuasion. A little bit better weapon for the gauntlet.
Yeah, I don't know if I can blame Nobly for waiting this long. With fighter sword climb is not friendly.
Yeah, the other thing he's missing for the climb is his magic management is going to be difficult because he doesn't have the lamp to light torches.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have any magic extenders except for the potion in his bottle. So he has to be very judicious with that fire rod climbing the gauntlet. And at the time he didn't have silver arrows, but now he does.
Right. That silver arrow may have clued him into going to GT as well. Not required, just saying it makes it easier.
Alright, he's showing us some quick swap. strats for that room. Hit the switch with the boomerang, quick swap to a quick shot, and then use quick shot.
So far, if I'm paying attention to my key count right in GT, I want to say that the right-hand side, the compass chest is going to be a key.
Compass chest can only... So you mean the tile room chest?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen Hope Room yet, right? So it's a
We
little
have not seen Hope Room. Yeah.
Hope Room can be 2 keys. And I think you might be right, though, because he has 0 keys. If he finds a big key here, you can also find a small key. There's also a possibility of key behind Ice Armos.
Yep.
But with us
right
0
now...
keys, I'm thinking it actually is probably a key in Tile Room. Alright, Daanty's gonna do a really cool hover. Oh, no, he's not. He must have...
thought about doing a cool hover,
He didn't do the hover, because he had a bow-locked pod. So he actually had to go the bow-locked side. That's a little sad. He's really good at that hover.
Alright, so we're going to release Bob here in just a moment. And get red mail for our reward.
That's French vanilla red mail. In case you were worried about the climb, now you can just tank it.
I mean, I don't know if I would recommend it, but yeah, we got enough hearts and red mail, so...
This is pretty comfortable for the climb. I mean, the Master Sword's a little slower, but it's not the worst. Half of the enemies in the gauntlet will die in one do it.
Alright, so it's looking like Big Key is on the right-hand side, so we do have to go and do that tile room no matter what. Unless the Big Key is inside... No, never mind. It can't be inside the big chest. I just realized what I was about to say.
This is not no logic. That's for a later tournament. And yes, I will mentor you. Alright, Daaanty has to farm up some arrows here because he used all of them.
I actually know the trick in GT with the red cane to get up to, at least to Aghanim's first area.
I can't do that. I've tried it. It's so finicky.
Yeah, Gauntlet Skip is fun, but that does still require a big key. I'm assuming there's another clip you would use to get to Agha 2 without it.
There's a glitch you do, you come from Turtle Rock and it drops you directly into Agha 2, so you don't need any keys. But that's for another mode.
I believe that's a double red YBA.
That's just one YBA. It's actually one of the easier ones you can learn. It's really good for multi-world. Yeah, we're kind of just talking about no logic because we're in Tile Room right now. This is a key, by the way.
Well, I don't know, because now we have a key. So
no, it's a key.
Definitely a key.
Because he could have spent that key in the middle door.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right.
And you can't even climb to get another one because there's a big key here.
Alright, so we do have to pay attention to our magic, like you said, coming up on this side.
Daaanty is doing Dark Turtles expertly. Oh yeah, he wasn't even in that room anymore. He must have used the fire rod. He is down a little bit magic, which makes sense. Alright, nobly has low magic for this room. He's gonna use bombs? He has the cane. I wonder what he's saving the magic for. Nobly, use the cane.
Maybe Nobly doesn't think they have enough magic in order to use the cane twice?
I think he does. The cane doesn't use that much. It's a very frugal magic item. And there's that small key. That small key actually had to be there. We do need 2 keys for the climb here. So, logically, that is.
And there's our last key that's hiding.
Yeah, it's really because there can only be 1 key upstairs. So, the other one had to be here. Oh, look at him. Aw, he was going to do the trick. So there's a trick in this room where you actually walk down first to load in the fire bar. Oh, he's not doing it. That's why it's not working. It looks like he does a version where he just kind of runs into the fire bar, which is probably faster than the damageless strat. But it does hit you for 1 heart.
Alright, so let's see what this big chest has, if anything.
Yeah, this is kind of a feels bad big chest, because you have to go through this room just to get it. It's not the most fun room in the game. This is kind of what you have to do when you don't have the mirror, though. You kind of have to get out somehow, and death warping is really slow.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we're probably gonna... Oh, Daanty's doing the same routing that Nobly did. He's doing Helmosaur before back.
Alright, so someone needs to explain to me why that's faster.
I don't think it's faster. I think it's you're hoping to find progression on Helmosaur. And you can also get information from Helmosaur on what can be in the Dark Maze. As I was mentioning earlier, they don't have a map yet, so Daaanty could, like, skip the big chest if he recognizes that it's the map and save a tiny bit of time here. Okay, Daaanty, thank you. Daaanty is saying it's because you don't want a death warp. This makes a ton of sense. When you fight Helmosaur, it warps you to the beginning of the dungeon. When you do Dark Maze first, you have to death warp, and that's slow.
Skipping the second fairy, Sag.
Maybe he doesn't want sword beams.
That's true. Sword beams are terrible. They
You consider that hard, though.
They do fire sword damage, or not fire sword. I'm sorry. Fighter sword is what I meant to say, right?
Yes, they will override your damage if they hit at the wrong time. So, like, he takes these swipes at the blue guys, and sometimes they just don't die. It's because of sword beams. Where is Daaanty going? He has Dark World access here, but he's probably doing some. He's activating his flute. Alright, we got a flute activation, hour into an Overworld seed.
I wonder if the devs ever thought about patching the sword beam damage so that it would at least do the same damage as the sword you're using.
You mean the rando devs? The rando devs don't generally patch vanilla behavior unless it's breaking the game in some way. Or making it, unplayable for people. And even then, they still don't always do that. There are some pretty heavily game-breaking bugs that can happen that are unique to, the vanilla game that have not been patched out because we are playing A Link to the Past and we want to continue playing A Link to the Past and not, a ROM hack of A Link to the Past. Even though that's essentially what this is.
Gold sword beams would be ridiculous. I agree.
Yes, that would also be overpowered. I mean, the ideal thing would be to have it not override. It would just take damage from whatever the higher damage class was that it got hit by.
Yeah, but then you're talking about what damage is getting applied because of frames. You know what I'm saying? That might be why the sword beam overrides the regular sword, is because it's technically getting the hit before the actual sword does.
Yeah, so the game, there would have to be quite a bit of programming to get around that. Hey, this is the uncle. We haven't seen that yet, right?
I know we saw back of escape, but not front.
Alright, so we have something we call the 1 hour uncle. It's really easy to isolate the escape and the uncle in this mode because it's not something you can really glitch to unless you have the mirror. So if you are going really long in the seed and you're starting to run out of things to do, and it's been an hour and you haven't done the uncle yet, you should probably start thinking about it, because it might just be the mirror in the uncle chest. And if you're waiting the whole seed to get the mirror to go here, then you're never going to go here. Alright, am I correct that we have found absolutely nothing in Game Tower?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything in the climb.
Not even in the basement. This was Red mail, that was the most notable thing we found here.
Yeah, red mail, and I think that's it.
You don't have a mirror. You don't even want red. Red mail.
We got the
bad.
shovel. The shovel gives us a nice little side quest, but
shovel's fine for Nobly because he hasn't done Lammo yet, and Lammo has an item, and he can route it into Checkerboard Cave. It's gonna be a little bit less fun for Daaanty because he has already done Lammo, so it's really just 2 overworld locations that are kind of slow to do.
So this is going to turn into an ice rod hunt, I'm betting.
Well, we got an ice rod and a medallion. This is 2 ice rod hunts. Which is why I'm not calling a lead yet.
Yeah, that's true, because we need to know who gets that rod first, or that medallion first.
Oh, mirror! Jake! This is why you do the uncle check.
Yep, there's the mirror.
There it is.
So, we're now flippers away from doing a swamp check.
Yeah, let's hope we don't see those ever.
Before both items are in left side swamp.
I didn't really mention this, but flippers also open up Ice Palace logically. There's a clip you can get in to ice with, requires the flippers. So if you don't have a glove, the flippers might be your logical access there. Yeah, we got 2 fetch quests in GT. That is worse than nothing. That is 2 things you don't want to see. Alright, Daaanty is doing something. I kind of glossed over it, but he climbed the mountain and didn't correct his camera, and then he walked down. Every time he walks down, his overworld map screen position moves down a screen. So when he puts the mirror portal down, it actually goes lower than where he is. And then he can walk into it and he's at the pyramid. So this is called Pyramid Fairy Clip. The lamp and the flippers. No, please.
Oh my word.
Daaanty.
Stop it. Stop it.
He has to follow those. This is his chance, you know? You've gone, okay, there's Quake.
And Quake.
Look at that. Simultaneous Quake grabs from completely different routes. Nobly coming here from Aga 2. Daaanty coming here from Pyramid Fairy Clip. Look at this. This is some crazy sneak we're seeing. Daaanty is going to do something else, though. He's going to do hammer pegs. You can swim to the hammer pegs. You don't need the mitts for this.
So where's Nobly going now? Shovel check? Nope, we don't have mirror, so we can't do shovel
mirror. Check. So I think if flippers, like if you find the flippers after doing this whole sequence, you have to follow them, right?
Mm-hmm. Looks like Nobly's going right into Misery Mire, and I really can't blame him for that, because we have everything to clear it.
That tempered sword, too. That hammer pegs check was actually nice. Assuming he doesn't just find another one somewhere in swamp. Yeah, Nobly's gonna have a little bit of a harder time in Mire here. He has no lamp, no tempered sword. Very little health to go on, too. Daaanty's going to come into Mire with a little bit better equipment, assuming that's where he goes. He could go to Dependent Ice if he really wanted to, but I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah, Pendant Ice would not be a good play, considering there's only, what, 2 items in there?
He still has Hype Cave to mop up, too, so he can do that on the way. Check Stumpy and then do Mire, because you didn't get to... I kind of miss if he actually did Stumpy before Mire. I know one of them clipped down from Stumpy and one of them clipped down from Race Game.
Yeah. The other thing that Daaanty... Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up players right now. I was going to say he could do Shovel, but then I forgot that Nobly's the one that actually has the Shovel.
This is Daanty's first male upgrade.
Yes it is.
Yeah, Daaanty doesn't have the shovel. So he's gonna isolate that too. Both of the runners have isolated that shovel a little bit.
Honestly, the fact that GT really didn't have anything in it is working in Daanty's favor right now, though.
Sure, but it wasn't very go-modable either. The big key was in a kind of nasty location.
Yeah,
maybe
no
if
one
he
goes
does,
right
like,
side first.
if he does GT and go mode, he'll be able to do a magician route that will get him to the big key slightly faster. And he'll get to skip tile room, which he could do anyway if he counted keys. Alright, Daaanty has the mirror. So, this is okay. Daaanty is smart. He knows that this portal placement is not great, so he's gonna reposition. I think it's possible that he could have walked out of that portal and not been able to re.
And then it would have been bad news bears.
Hey, that's the
and
ice
there's
rod.
the ice rod in checkerboard.
So the flippers were a big nothing for Daaanty. They were just an excuse to find Quake on Pyramid. The mirror, however, not necessarily required, but it did make this easier to route in for him because this was rather isolated when he fought Molorn or Landmollas. So wow, look at that.
Definitely tightens up the race a little bit. So I think we're in full go mode.
Yeah, it's interesting because nobody has access to that. He just has to go there, which he can do. If he says, I'm going to do Landmo next because it's a crystal and I haven't done it yet, he can check that on the way. And he can be in go mode too. He will be in a slightly less comfortable go mode because he'll have no tempered sword. And he'll have no mirror, which will actually make some of the routing a little bit slower. Although at this point of the game, he's already done GT and Pod. Those are the two dungeons that benefit from the mirror the most.
Daanty's also going to have a faster mire having that lamp, where nobody's going to have to be stumbling in the dark a little bit. I mean, if you know that room really well, and the couple of rooms after it really well, then it's not that big of a deal. But I still say mire's slower without lamp.
Oh yeah. One thing that's working in Nobly's favor is the big key is in the cutscene chest. Daaanty does not get to go mode this dungeon.
Looks like nobly has to full clear though, so we're going to be spending a little more time checking a few more checks, just to make sure we didn't miss something.
Yeah, if he's lucky, he'll find a sword. We know he's not going to find the mirror, obviously, but that would have been nice. That's something he hopes to find. Book is not something Now, Book is actually really good for him because that will lead him back to the Bombos tablet area. And Bombos tablet is something he can do with Checkerboard Cave. That's kind of a little guiding star for him. Hopefully he follows it and doesn't miss out on that ice rod.
Mm-hmm. Just enough magic. Nope. Oh, gotta go
Daaanty.
refill.
Now I wonder if he refills and goes north or if he just does the cutscene chest. Nope, he goes up. Okay. That would be pretty gambly for him. I wonder if he feels behind still after finding his go mode this close to. After finding the flippers, which can, bait your opponent. Well, now he knows where the big key is. With the small key being up there, the big key has to be in the bottom chest. Because the logic will not place a small key in the firelock chest if the big key isn't also there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, nobly is just so close to his go mode, but so far because he doesn't have the mirror. Daaanty is saying, you don't do cutscene without checking to see if this is a key. Yeah, that makes sense. I always check the top firelock chest because that can give you some information.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the small key, then you know where the big key is. If it's not the small key, you can probably put it off for last if you're just looking for the big key. If you're looking for items and it's the big key, then you probably don't want to go to the cutscene chest because it can be a small key, pushing items out of that location. Daaanty is not even refilling his magic. He doesn't care. I wonder if he knows the spooky action. Fluteless spooky. Nobly is handling this dark room very well. Not slowing him down very much at all. Daaanty is not arming spooky. He's just going to do this the normal way. There is a little spooky you can do without the flute, where you void out a Samaria block and sets an altitude value. It's a little bit different from the one you're probably familiar with. It's
Well,
not
I'm
quite
not
as...
familiar with either of them.
Oh, okay. What Spooky does is it lets you hit the switch with the Fire Rod splash damage by offsetting that splash damage. You offset the splash damage by setting some altitude value of some other object, and then that carries over into your Fire Rod. Alright, Daaanty is just hot on Nobly's heels here, but he's also in go mode. He's just GT behind as far as progress goes, but he's also Lanmo ahead.
I want to say that GT ahead is a lot more progress than Lambo ahead.
Yeah, but go mode versus not go mode is also a very big factor here, and so is Tempered Sword versus Master.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how this all plays out.
Nobly has to get the Ice Rod next to stay in the game here. If he doesn't, if his next move isn't going to Checkerboard Cave, which it looks like it is, because he has a whole bunch of fetch quests to do here now, he is back in the game. Because look, he's going straight to Shovel. His next check is going to be Checkerboard, and then he's going to do Lanmo, and then he's going to do the book check, the tablet. Of course, he's not going to do that because he's going to find go mode. But that's what he's thinking in his head. He's thinking this chain of things he can do. This isn't really going to get faster for him, and it is a crystal that he can get on the way. Oh yeah, Daaanty in chat pointing out he already has the TR big key. It's not. Do you remember where that was?
I want to say that was Laser Bridge. No, it can't be Laser Bridge. That was. Was it in the firebar or not firebar room, in the roller room?
If it's there, then Nobly has quite a long trek through TR. Daaanty just goes straight to Laser Bridge through this mirror wrap, which happened so fast I didn't have time to explain it. Basically, you hit the mirror on the same frame you transition. It puts you on the other side of the transition. You can hit it from the wrong direction, which wraps your screen an extra half a screen, putting you on the Laser Bridge ledge.
Yeah, that screen wrap is, once you learn how to set it up, it's so easy. It's basically free.
Yeah, memorization. The hardest part is hitting 2 buttons at the same time, and if you mess up, you can just do it again. It's not a big deal. There's really no punishment to failure either. Nobly is using the book to get into desert. Very interesting. There is you can teleport back to the ledge and then hop down to desert from above, but when you're in go mode and you're thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna end my way because that's what I'm comfortable with, that's fine too.
Yeah, it ends up being whatever is faster for you. If NMG is faster for you, do NMG.
And that's very true. Of course, alright. I actually
a gold sword on...
But this is good for Nobly. He's gonna get tempered cannon. He's gonna put this his Daanty's lead a little bit. I say Daanty's lead, but I don't actually really know. I think Daanty's in the lead here because Nobly has to do all of TR, but it's a very small lead.
Yeah, so we're all of TR versus all of GT right now.
Yeah, it really depends on which way Daaanty goes. If he does the magician route where you close room in the mirrors and then does right side, he'll be in the lead. But if he goes left side first, he's gonna fall behind a little bit.
And I mean, I can't think of many racers that would opt to do the magician route, and unless they're feeling a little spicy.
Magician route is kind of meta for no glitches GT routing, actually. If you've been watching league races, you'll see a lot of people going that way.
See, I'm a fan of left side, but that's just because I'm a purist, I guess.
Yeah, I think magician is fine. In fact, magician is kind of a I get to go mode GT and my opponent doesn't move, because then you can kind of skip ice armos and save it for last. More likely to have arrows for the climb. On the other hand, you're more likely to have magic for the climb if you don't go right side.
Yeah, so each route has their pluses and their minuses. It's just as far as it's a 50-50 shot. Which one's going to be the oh, and there it is. We're going towards the right.
This is pretty classic. I'm in go mode and GT. Oh, we get to do the big key guessing game. Well, we don't, but you know his chat did. Yeah, Candace Tower is just a big game of rock paper scissors. It's not really a science that people say it is. It's just, you know, the big key can be wherever it wants.
That's definitely. That's what I was going to say, was that it really comes down to a coin flip when you think about it.
Oh, here's the other thing. Nobly doesn't have the mirror. So he either has to do the mirrorless TR laser bridge, or he has to go in through the middle, which he's going to do the middle, the traditional in-logic route. This does put him closer to the big key, but it takes him farther from Cinaeth. So when he gets the big key, he can't just mirror to the back or death warp. He has to walk there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still very close. This is actually just Gauntlet versus TR.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Nobly's going to get a tempered sword, so there isn't even really an advantage there, except that who is ahead in their respective dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Daaanty is on not very many hearts right now. See if he goes to the safety room like Nobly did. I think he does just because of his magic situation, so he can afford to bleed a little health here. He's taking a little safety in the spike room. He's got his bombs out, which tells me he's gonna do the safety door.
Yep. Doesn't get the Cannonball Z dash, but does get over there.
Oh, I've actually never seen somebody pull that off.
Does not refill magic, though. Refills health, but not magic.
I actually thought he was going in here for the magic. Very interesting. He doesn't need it because he has the lamp. Like, nobody needed it because he didn't have the lamp. No, I think Daanty's just gonna go mostly silvers and sword in the gauntlet and use only the magic he needs. I'll get a refill at the top before Ganon.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and he also has that advantage of when he finishes his dungeon, he's gonna be right on top of the pyramid, whereas Nobly's gonna have to walk there.
So now Nobly has the big key, so we could death warp out of here.
Yeah, but he's not gonna go all the way to Laser Bridge like he would if he had in from the back.
Yep. We're gonna have to restart at the middle. So we're doing a restart in the middle of Turtle Rock versus just finishing up Malmo 2.
Yeah. Daaanty has to do an extra boss fight on the way up. And of course, Nobly has to do Cinaeth. That's a boss too. But no, Daaanty has to do Cinaeth or Moldorm and Agatu.
Yeah, so 2 bosses versus 1 boss right now.
Not that Moldorm is yeah, Moldorm is Moldorm. Anything can happen, but probably gonna be very quick.
Trolldorm control, pretty hard.
This room control too. Sometimes you just dash and get tinked for no reason. It's pretty much luck. There's nothing you can do about it except kind of increase your odds by being to the right a little bit. Daanty's very calculated with his magic. He knows exactly how much he needs in this room.
Yeah, that was super close, but we got it.
Yeah, he knew. If he didn't have enough, he would have used the... Oh, nobody has to do this room in the dark. Aw. One of the benefits to wrapping to Laser Bridge is you don't have to do this room front to back.
Now, there is a way to get into Laser Bridge without the mirror. It's not an easy setup, but it is something that can be done.
Nobody has lost a race to that before. He has a history with that clip. His opponent used it against him in a race and found the ice rod on Laser Bridge and got to go mode just a little bit. Or it wasn't the ice rod, the mirror actually. The mirror on Laser Bridge, which is really mean for people who like the mirror app. Because you can't mirror out to Laser Bridge, and Laser Bridge has the mirror. All right.
That's a gross location for mirror.
Sure is. But if you know that wrap and you want to use that to your advantage, that's the best place for the mirror to be.
I think it's as you said before, learn backups to locations. Low percent your dungeons.
Yeah, but backups don't necessarily have to be other tricks. The backup in Nobly's case was to just TR, which is what the seed expects you to do. It's only a little bit slower. Nobly got to skip the escape.
Oh, that's true.
You got to skip.
Alright, so we're just going to be finishing up the Cinaeth fight. A couple of sword swings. And Cinaeth is dead at the same time that Aga 2 is dead. So the advantage here is that Daaanty is going to be landing directly on the pyramid, able to go kill Ganon, where Nobly's going to have to save and quit and figure out a fast way to get into Ganon's tower, probably doing the swamp portal to then run up to Ganon's tower. So I'm thinking that we're going to be at least a full phase ahead on Daanty's side, if not 2 phases ahead. And yeah, Malmo had a phone call, so it's just me. You guys will have to deal with it. But, oh, and a Gold Sword Ganon too, which is going to make these phases go a whole lot faster versus Tempered Sword. It's definitely less hits with a Gold Sword, so we're going to have a lot of fun killing Ganon. As long as we don't get hugged or take too many bats to the face. Alright, we are already on the 3rd phase of Ganon before Nobly can even get into the fight. This is Daanty's race to lose. As long as Daaanty doesn't fall down, we're going to be entering 4th phase, get a couple more teleports. Did not get Torch Glitch though. Double arrow to the side? Yeah, nice. We need one more arrow and that is game. And there it is, GG on Daanty's screen as Nobly is just getting to the Ganon fight. Super close race. Alright, so the real question is, we do have Daaanty in chat with us. Does Daaanty want an interview?
It is futile to resist my will.
I'm back, by the way. I had a emergency
you're
phone
good.
call from work, so I had to
You're
take care of
good.
that. GG to Daaanty. This looks really close. Nobly's at game.
Yeah, this basically came down to Daaanty killing Ganon as Nobly was climbing the pyramid to get into Ganon.
Yeah, that's really tight. I mean, if Daaanty hadn't done the magician route, that would have been probably a win for Nobly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Daaanty's going to pass on the interview. He has spoken his mind throughout the run. If you're watching on the VOD, he has said some things that I've mostly tried to repeat so that you don't miss out.
Mm-hmm.
Nobly is not with us in chat today. He's probably sleeping. But GG's to him as
Probably.
well. He just finished Ganon.
GG's to both of our runners. And once again, if you are not following these runners, please go follow these runners. They took their time out of their days to make this race happen. They take time out of their days to practice these tricks and create great streams on their own channels. And really, these races cannot happen without them. So please give them a huge follow. Go say hi in their chat. Go hang out with them for a bit. Give them some cool emotes. You know, I can't say it enough. Streamers' I wouldn't say livelihood, but the way that they feel about how they're doing definitely helps if you have people hanging out in your stream. So do that for them, and then also give my co-commentator here, Malmo, a huge follow. One of the organizers of the Mentor Tournament, and give our Restreamer Kippy a follow as well.
And likewise to my co-com Cinaeth, who has not only commentated, has also restreamed a ton of races himself for this tournament. He's been super MVP, so is Kippy stepping up for this one. Also, speaking of Daaanty, Daaanty is the host of Go Podcast, one of 3 hosts. Go Mode Podcast is sponsoring this tournament, giving us the platform we need to run it and some much needed guidance. So follow that podcast. They discuss all things A Link to the Past randomizer. They released an episode today. If you had missed it, go give it a listen.
Yep, and if you are interested in learning Link to the Past or any modes whatsoever, we've kind of hinted at it throughout this race. We have a nice little Discord server we all hang out in, and we give each other lots of help. So if you've never played Link to the Past and you want to learn no major glitches, or if you've played a little bit and now you want to learn how to do these overworld glitches, or if you want to really get into it and do restricted major glitches or no logic, or even do and really see how broken this game is and it's held together by duct tape and dreams, join that Discord and we can teach you everything.
Yep. The mentoring has not stopped. People still come there to ask questions and to learn modes. There are more glitched modes than just overworld glitches. If you're curious about them, come inside and ask. We'll be happy to teach you. And with that, I think we'll end pretty soon. We have a race coming up, a community Overworld Glitches race. In 30 minutes, a bunch of people from the community are going to race. It's not going to be restreamed unless you want to, Kippy, but but it is a ton of people will be streaming on their own channels, so you can set up a stream or just pick one to hang out in. If you would like to join yourself, I'm going to be putting up that race room in the Discord real soon.
Yep, definitely. All right, and with that, I believe we'll be calling it a night. I have been Cinaeth, and that has been Malmo.
Good night.